It's the great, big, broad land way up yonder. It's the forests where silence has lease. It's the beauty that thrills me with wonder. It's the stillness that fills me with peace. Hello, I'm Lorne Greene. Robert Service wrote those words over 80 years ago in his famous poem, The Spell of the Yukon. Alaska was a very special place then, and it's just as special today. Alaska has something for everyone, and despite the ruggedness of this vast frontier, anyone can enjoy what it has to offer. On this Rand McNally video trip, we're going to explore Alaska from Ketchikan in the south to Nome way up north. And we'll look at the various cultures and their histories and discover what there is to see and discover what there is to do. And in the final segment of our video trip, we'll share information with you to help make your trip easier and a lot more fun. So, let's get started. Everyone knows Alaska is big. In fact, the word Alyeska means great land. Yet few of us realize just how big it really is. Alaska is 1/5 the size of all the lower 48 U.S. states combined. It's 2.5 times the size of Texas, 586,000 square miles of land, with 33,000 miles of coastline. And yet, the population is less than 500,000. Up north, the Eskimo town of Barrow is the northernmost point in North America, only 1,200 miles from the North Pole. The international date line runs just offshore, and it's one of the few places in the world where you can peer into tomorrow. Alaska goes for all the records, with the highest mountain on the continent, 10 rivers longer than 300 miles, including the mighty Yukon that splashes along for 2,000 miles, 3 million lakes, and more than 5,000 glaciers. The state has the coldest winters, sometimes dropping -100 degrees. And it has hot, searing summers that can hit 100+. Alaska is rich with furs and fish and timber and oil, and there's still plenty of gold in the mountains, creek beds, and along the sandy shores. Scientists guess that the first visitors came to Alaska from Siberia, about 30,000 years ago. They were hunters, following their furry and finny food supply over a land bridge on the Bering Sea that once connected Asia to North America. When the land bridge was drowned by the melting Ice Age glaciers, Siberian seafarers continued to paddle across, and these early hunters came in waves of different ethnic backgrounds and made up the first residents of Alaska. The Aleuts of the island chain, the Eskimos of the Arctic who traveled all the way to Greenland, the Tlingit, Haida, and Tsimshian Indian tribes migrated to the milder coastal areas of the Southwest. The Athabascan tribe moved inland. Because of the economic potential, the Russians claimed and colonized Alaska as Russian America, settling first on Kodiak Island, then later in Sitka. Russian America extended as far south as California. But the Tsar found that the American adventure was too far from his capital to control and too expensive to maintain. In 1867, U.S. Secretary of State William Seward negotiated the purchase of Alaska. He paid the Tsar $7,200,000, about 2 cents an acre. But only a few years later, a German investor started the rush for gold in Alaska. In 1880, he sent 2 fun-loving prospectors down the Gastineau Channel to look for gold. Dick Harris and Joe Juneau liked the Indian squaws and liked the Indian whiskey more than they liked looking for gold. But between parties, the Indians showed the prospectors a stream where gold was lying in lumps as large as beans. They took out 100 pounds of very good float gold quartz, and the rush was on. In gold rush days, the newcomers to Alaska were called Chichakos. The sourdoughs were the veterans of at least one winter. More than 200,000 Chichakos braved the cold and hostile land, seeking nuggets, they were told, as big as duck eggs lying on the ground. Less than 4,000 of them struck it rich. Many of them died of scurvy or of the cold, though all the survivors called it the greatest adventure of their lives. Legends of characters as large as the land itself were passed on in story and song, like Sam McGee and the Malamute Kid, Dangerous Dan McGrew. Oh, then there was Diamond Tooth Gertie and Soapy Smith and the lady that's known as Lou. We'll start our tour of Alaska in the southeastern area known as the Panhandle. Now, as you'll see, there are very few towns in this area that you can reach by road. As a result, everything, meaning food, people, even houses, are brought in by boat or by plane. The quickest way to get here is by plane, but there are a number of cruise lines operating here each summer, and that's really a great way to enjoy everything along the way. And that's the way we'll start our video trip. All cruise ships set a course through the Inside Passage. It's called a marine highway, and it runs all the way from Seattle to Glacier Bay and Skagway. This protected waterway is a maze of deep channels and forested islands, with few signs of civilization along the way. The busiest port of departure for Alaska is Vancouver, British Columbia, and the start of any cruise is one of its highlights. Everyone feels an exhilaration as the ship moves away from the dock and picks up speed for the voyage north. Your first full day aboard, you could explore the ship itself and find out how to get from your cabin to all the different restaurants and lounges and swimming pools. Then you can stake out a deck chair and watch for eagles, whales, and remote Indian villages. The first major Alaskan community on a journey north is Ketchikan, about a day-and-a-half cruise from Vancouver. Ketchikan means thundering eagle wings. That's what the Indians called a wind-blown waterfall nearby. And it's an appropriate first stop, being somewhat typical of many southeast Alaskan towns, sitting squeezed between steep mountains and a narrow arm of the sea. Ketchikan was established because of the excellent salmon fishing in the surrounding waters, and it was transformed into a boisterous mining camp when gold was discovered. Today, the town is best known for three things: totem poles, great salmon fishing, and rainfall, an average of 151 inches a year. And yet, its charm and history make it a favorite stop of all Alaska visitors. Your first stop should be on the pier at the Ketchikan Visitors Bureau, where you can get a free walking guide to the town. This also is the place to board the many tour buses which visit all the town's attractions. Ketchikan has been described as 3 blocks wide and 3 miles long. Waterfront Street is one long row of shops filled with fur coats, knee-high muckluck boots, Eskimo art, and scrimshaw. In the Frontier Saloon is a theatrical version of Harbor Hanky Panky. They stage a melodrama called The Fish Pirate's Daughter. And just 3 blocks away is the historic district at Creek Street. Its boardwalk runs alongside weather-polished houses built on pilings above Ketchikan Creek, where lovesick salmon swim for romance. In memory of those lovely times, Dolly's house is open for visitors. It's still furnished as in pioneer days, when Dolly, Frenchie, Black Mary, and Blind Polly cast their netted stockings for the men of the salmon fleet. The Indians had no written language, so they carved totems in cedar to record family histories and fanciful legends. And Ketchikan has more totems than any other place in the world. There are several excellent places to view a variety of totems. At Saxman Totem Park, 3 miles south, there are some 22 poles, and you may even see a master carver at work. At Totem Bite Park, 10 miles north, there are 13 poles and a beautiful community house, all nestled by the water's edge. And in town, the Totem Heritage Cultural Center has an excellent collection of original, unaltered poles. White men have argued for many years about the possibility of our being descendants of monkeys, but Indians have no doubts at all. They are sons and daughters of the raven and consider the raven to be sacred. You see the raven symbol repeated on many totem poles, usually near the top in a protective position. If you get tired of touring, remember Ketchikan is known as the salmon capital of the world. Your cruise ship or the Visitors Bureau can help you arrange a fishing trip, and you can even have your catch smoked or frozen and shipped back home. Next along the Marine Highway is the old Russian capital, Sitka. Here, cruise ships tie up where Russian vessels once were loaded with furs to be sailed to China, and ice for the bars of California. A Russian fort was built here in 1799, but in 1802, the Tlingit Indians massacred all those in the colony. 2 years later, the Russian Navy poured cannon shot on the Tlingit village and re-established Sitka as New Archangel, a community that tried to rival Russia's St. Petersburg for fancy dress balls and banquets. In fact, it was known as the Paris of the Pacific. It remained the Tsar's capital in North America until the American purchase of Alaska in 1867. Today, the Onion Dome of St. Michael's Cathedral is the most photographed building in Sitka. It still holds many valuable Russian icons. Sitka has become known for performances of Russian folk dances by the New Archangel Dancers. The troupe consists entirely of local women. Performances are held in the Centennial Building, and the Visitors Bureau can provide you with a schedule of performances. Next stop is at the town named for the rascally Joe Juneau. It was started by gold, but as the state capital, it's government jobs that keep it going today. On the north side of Gastineau Channel, downtown Juneau is nestled at the base of steep mountainsides. And on the south side, Douglas Island, now a prosperous Juneau suburb, was the site of the famed Treadwell mine.